Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
And good morning. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. That would make me Glenn. That would make him Griffin. A lot to do on the program today. Appreciate all the feedback we got yesterday about the format we're experimenting with this week here on GCR. Some fans, Chris Erich joins the group that says, no, I want more. I'm a degenerate. I have the time. And we understand that.
Well, I mean, people just can't get enough.
And by the way, and we will, inevitably at some point we will be doing a 1-hour format of the show. I don't know exactly when that's going to be a full-time move. But even then, we've already tinkered with the idea of doing some like bonus content and things like that. So, by the way, even on the first day of doing an hour, we went an hour 15. So, like, hello. But appreciate everybody reaching out yesterday, and we're going to continue to try it this week, and we'll see how it goes. On the program today, Mike Sando will join us. Mike Sando's annual quarterback tiers piece for The Athletic came out yesterday. Lamar Jackson for the first time, which is weird, finally in Tier 1.
Also Matthew Stafford's first time.
It's a bizarre time for Matt Stafford. Is that definitive that it was his first time in Tier 1?
Yeah, I looked at the
Okay.
I mean, it was at least not in the last 5 years.
Double check. That's super bizarre that Matthew Stafford showed up in Tier 1. I have no idea.
Definitively his first Tier 1.
Lamar Jackson listed fourth behind a tie between Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow, then Josh Allen. So we'll talk to Mike Sando about all that later on this morning. Ravens playing preseason game number 2 on Saturday night in Dallas against the Cowboys. Tommy Akingbesote, former Maryland defensive lineman. He will join us. We will talk to him as he is trying to make sure that he cracks the roster for the Cowboys after going in the 7th round of the NFL draft. We will catch up with him. This will obviously be a big game for him. That's what's coming up on the program today. We are just one day away from the new print issue of Press Box. It will begin hitting newsstands tomorrow. It will feature Derrick Henry on the cover. I don't have it physically yet, but I do have, I think I can show it to you. Hang on a second.
Digital cover?
Yeah, maybe I should have sent that to you. That probably would have been the smart thing to do. We're trying to do more of that, and I did it for the content, just not for the ads and the promo reads, but I could have done that. It's probably too big. Here.
Are you emailing? How's it working?
Yeah, do you have your email open?
Yeah.
All right. You should have a link to the issue. If you want to pull it up, you can show the cover, but you have to kind of scroll down on it. Derrick Henry's on the cover, as Bo Smolka is going to dive into the unicorn that Derrick Henry is and the success that he is finding as a running back in the NFL after the age of 30, which just isn't something we have seen since, like, Frank Gore, who's a first-year eligible for the Hall of Fame next year. Really great story from Bo Smolka. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg profiles Kobe Mayo as he looks to find rhythm at the major league level. We meet college football players from all of the FBS and FCS programs around the state, Maryland, Navy, Towson, Morgan, and some other fall sports, some soccer players from non-football programs like Loyola and UMBC, all inside this print issue of Press Box, which, again, will be available starting tomorrow at your neighborhood Royal Farms, the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. And you'll be able to read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. If you show up at your neighborhood Royal Farms tomorrow and it ain't there, just hold tight. Stop by on Thursday. You'll be able to find it there for...
Or blame Stan or something.
Free. Yes, correct. Send him an angry letter. He'll love that. Gratis. That new print issue of Press Box. All right, we begin above the fold, our top stories for today. Let's start with David Ojabo, who met with the media yesterday. It's interesting because on this program yesterday, Jonas Schaefer, Baltimore Banner beat writer, covers the Baltimore Ravens, joined us, and we were talking about what's still to be determined roster-wise. And I brought up the fact that David Ojabo had a big sack in Thursday night's preseason opener. Maybe the irony there is that Tavius Robinson is so set on the roster that Tavius Robinson didn't even play in the preseason opener. Like, he's moved all the way to so set, such a part of the team that he's not even playing in the preseason. But David Ojabo is on the field fighting for a roster spot. He's also a former second-round pick. Is there really the possibility that David Ojabo isn't going to be on the team? Let's start with what Jonas Schaefer had to say of the Baltimore Banner yesterday on GCR about that very possibility.
I still think it's very much up for grabs.
Okay.
The Ravens historically in recent years have kept just the 5 outside linebackers. And, listen, if you are David Ojabo, I think it's probably too late right now to just do a complete reshuffling of him as a player, but wasn't, as far as I could tell, super involved with the special teams. And if you are going to be a guy who's like the last man on that totem pole, you've got to figure out a way to get involved and, weaponize some of that athleticism that made you a first-round talent, second-round pick a few years ago. That hasn't really clicked for him. Maybe he's trying, but it just hasn't, sunk in for him. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think that based on the growth that we've seen from Adisa in the past week or so, and obviously Mike Green doesn't have to worry about what his role will be on game day. Like, the top 5 is pretty dang secure. So now you're just wondering about how Eric DeCosta feels about cutting this guy who would be a second-round pick. The Ravens are typically very, very cautious and reluctant about parting with their day 1 and day 2 picks unless they absolutely have to. But such are the pitfalls of having a team that's talented. There's going to be someone, even if the injuries continue to mount, someone who they really, really like, who they're not going to be able to keep.
So a couple things in there. I agree wholeheartedly with what Jonas is saying. Jonas points out that, there's only so many spots on the roster. I did go back and look at the last 2 53-man rosters for the Baltimore Ravens. Last year, the final 53-man roster, or the initial 53-man roster, as they call it, included 5 outside linebackers. Kyle Van Noy, Adafe Owe, Tavius Robinson, Adisa Isaac, and David Ojabo. The presumption going into this year is that if there are 5 spots, and we can go back the year before that, it was 5 as well. Jadeveon Clowney, Adafe Owe, Tavius Robinson, David Ojabo, and remember Malik Ham actually made the initial roster
then he was
and then ended up on IR after that. That was also a year that
Van Noy came in, 2 weeks?
Yes.
3 weeks?
Very early in the season. Yeah. I think the year before that I went back and looked in 2022. They actually only had 3 outside linebackers on their initial 53-man roster. No, that was, Houston, Owe, and Ojabo were the only outside linebackers on the initial roster. Now, I can't remember enough about 2022 to remember what the timeline.
Was Bowser hurt the whole year that year?
No, he came back that year. 23 was the year he didn't play at all. 22 was the year that he came back.
Oh, 4 weeks in?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I don't think it was 4 weeks. I think it was a couple weeks after that, but he was back at that point.
Again, these are the things that
yeah, correct.
We know.
So there are limited spots. The argument is this year, those 5 that made the roster last year, just switch out David Ojabo for Mike Green. We know Mike Green's going to be on the roster. If there's only 5 spots for outside linebackers, it appears as though Adisa Isaac has the edge on David Ojabo at the moment.
See what you did there?
See, every now and then.
This is what you're getting at with the hour-long show.
Every now and then. So where does that leave David Ojabo? David Ojabo met with reporters yesterday. Now, I got a few people that were talking about this both on social media and in my life who said, would the Ravens, if they really believed David Ojabo was on the chopping block, would they actually put him at a podium setting to speak to reporters? And I guess my response would be twofold. One, that might very well mean they got a lot of requests for David Ojabo. It might very well mean that reporters realize that David Ojabo's roster spot is becoming a storyline in these next 2 weeks of the preseason, and so they want to talk and write about it. And so they've requested from the Ravens PR staff, hey, we'd like to talk to David Ojabo. And if 3 or 4 different reporters have asked the same question, the Ravens might say, hey, we need to get him at the podium. That might not mean anything related to what they believe his job security or status to be. I don't think they go by the John Harbaugh and say, hey, have you made a final decision? Because if Jabo's not going to be on the team, we don't want to put him at the podium. It's very unlikely that they did that. So David Ojabo is asked about his spot on the roster, and here's what the former second-round pick had to say.
I haven't heard nothing about that, honestly. I'm out here just get the call, play fast, have fun, and, control what I can control, which is my effort, and my attitude.
And that's all very fair, right? What else do you want from David Ojabo? Here are the raw facts. David Ojabo in 3 seasons, and we knew that he wasn't going to be able to play the full 2022 season. There's a reason the Ravens got him where they got him, because they knew he was injured, and they were able to take advantage of that to get him in the second round, or at least at the time we thought take advantage of that to get him in the second round. He's played in 18 games over the course of his 3 seasons in Baltimore. He's recorded 4 sacks. He's forced 2 fumbles, 2 of those sacks coming last year. Last year was his most productive year as a Raven, as he played in 13 games. Now, he wasn't, I say productive, I guess just being on the field, right. It was the most productive. He wasn't particularly productive outside of, again, having the 2 sacks. Jonas brings up the idea that the Ravens are reluctant, and I, given my history with the Ravens, absolutely believe the Ravens are reluctant to part ways with early-round picks. I combed over the last 10 years to see if there's precedent within the last 10 years. And there are 4 day 1 or day 2 picks. They're all day 2 picks. There are 4 day 2 picks that were released or traded for nothing before the end of their rookie contract. Of course, you remember all 4 right off the top of your head. They were
the Ravens. The thing.
Yes. You don't remember? It's okay.
I don't.
Most recently, 2020 draft pick, 3rd round pick, offensive lineman.
That would be
Tyree Phillips did not make it to the end of his contract. Drafted in the 3rd round in 2020. He was released in the roster cuts in 2022. He had made 13 starts over his 2 years and played in 22 games as a Baltimore Raven. 2019 draft pick.
That would be, was that the J.K. Dobbins? No, 2020 was J.K. Dobbins.
Another 3rd rounder.
And he obviously wasn't cut. I won't know in the interest of time.
Was not released during cuts. He was released in the spring of 2022 after 3 seasons. Miles Boykin, of course, did not make it to the end of his rookie deal. In 40 games, he made 24 starts, 33 catches, 470 yards, 7 touchdowns. Someone that I always thought.
Yeah. He had 7 touchdown catches?
Yeah.
No, he did.
He did. How
many special teams tackles?
Look, man, I was a Miles Boykin truther. I think I always am with wide receivers, except for Brashad Perriman, oddly. Like, I never was a Brashad Perriman truther.
You were a big Jaleel Scott guy, weren't you?
No, I remember Kyle was a massive Antoine Wesley guy. Like, Steve Smith one time said something nice about Antoine Wesley, and, like, Kyle wanted to build the entire show around it. Like, we came in, it was during training camp one year, and Steve Smith, like, said something at the podium about Antoine Wesley. He's like, dude, the Ravens got a guy. And I was like, what did you think Steve Smith was going to say? No, this guy stinks? We ended up doing like an entire hour about Steve Smith and Antoine Wesley because Kyle was so bullish about the idea that if Steve Smith's saying good things about him, he's clearly going to be a guy. When Antoine Wesley caught a touchdown with the Cardinals, I remember Kyle and I were texting with each other all night. I was in the process of texting him to say, dude, your guy. And I got a text from him before I could even finish.
He only had 2 tackles as a Raven, apparently.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah, that's surprising.
And then 2 from the 2016 draft, including a 2nd rounder.
So
These two guys kind of tied together for forever.
They're tied together.
Yeah, when you think of one, you tend to think of the other.
So I mean, they're same position. 2016.
Not the same, but similar.
Darn it, I don't know.
Kamalai Correa
of
and
course.
Bronson Kafusi, the kind of lost draft of 2016.
Those multiple Val guys.
Yeah. Kamalai Correa was traded for a late-round pick to the Titans. After 2 years, Bronson Kafusi was waived on roster cuts in 2018 after 2 years as well. He had missed all of 2016, Bronson Kafusi, and played just 3 games the following year. So there is precedent for abandoning early round picks. It has been done by the Baltimore Ravens in recent years. Now, David Ojabo is unique because, again, you thought you were getting a first-round pick in the second round. You thought it was a bonus first-round pick that you were getting in David Ojabo, sort of the way that we think that Mike Green is kind of a bonus first-round pick for different reasons this year. So that probably makes it more of a bitter pill to swallow, but the Ravens have proven willing to do it. Obviously, this could still be impacted. There are still 3 weeks before the season begins. There could still be injuries. You would assume that the Ravens would look to try to deal David Ojabo similarly to how they dealt Kamalai Correa should they get to that point that they know they're going to end up releasing him. But I think Jonas Schaefer is right. I think it's very much in the cards that David Ojabo could not be a Baltimore Raven. Quickly, just a couple other above-the-fold notes around the AFC North. Problems continue for other teams in the division as Cam Hayward continues to hold in at Steelers camp. He addressed it yesterday.
Looking for my contract to be addressed. Honestly, looking to be valued. In my eyes, when I look around and, at my position, I think I'm 22nd as a D-Tech on 36 as a D lineman. And, I know what I bring to this team and what I'm capable of on and off the field. And so it's hard for me to, after the year I've had, to really justify playing at the number I'm playing at. I understand I signed a contract last year.
Yeah, that's more than enough. For what it's worth, Cam Hayward, of course, is 36 years old, which makes this really complicated. He signed a 2-year, $29 million deal after the 2024 season. That $14.5 million average annual value is 23rd among interior defensive linemen, according to Over the Cap. He had 8 sacks and 20 quarterback hits a year ago. There is no doubt that Cam Hayward was outperforming what it was that the Steelers were paying him. That said, does it make sense for the Steelers to give more money to a player of Cam Hayward's age? I can understand why they would be struggling with adding guaranteed money past this year as someone is getting closer to 40 years old. I can understand that issue, and all I can say is that's too bad that those guys are dealing with that. I don't have the answer. I really don't. I don't have the answer. If I was doing radio in Pittsburgh today, the easiest thing to always say is just pay the guy. Let's get this over with. But I understand the difficulty of.
This is what if Kyle Van Noy was holding out right now?
And look, Kyle Van Noy wanted to get paid real money and deserved it. But there's got to be a limit. There's got to be a limit to how much you're paying someone at this age and how much more you're giving guaranteed money to. It's easy for all of us to say, hey, it's not our money, go ahead and spend it, but I understand. I guess the issue with the Steelers is dude, you're not going to be good anyway, right? What are you doing here? It's a very, very strange situation.
They're starting to think they are going to be good, That's the thing.
What's that?
They think they are going to be good.
How?
Because
how are they going to be good?
They're getting drunk on the Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid.
Oh, stop.
Or I guess I should say the Aaron Rodgers.
As I said, they're not going to be good. They're obviously going to win 9 games because that's what they do. But they're not going to be actually any good. All right, we continue along here on a Tuesday edition of GCR. Today's show is also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, which is back this October at Fair Hill. Get your tickets right now, Maryland 5-Star with the number 5, Maryland5star.us. The Triple Crown of Equestrian, a world-class sporting event, and a celebration of fall here in the state of Maryland, which, as we know, is the best season that exists anywhere in any place. Corgi Cup, the ponies, the Food and Wine Festival, it's all there at the Maryland 5-Star, the 5th edition of the Maryland 5-Star, maryland5star.us. Our next guest released his annual Quarterback Tears piece at The Athletic yesterday, and we all handle it very appropriately. None of us are very weird about it and scream and yell and piss and moan. We all just acknowledge this is interesting information and nothing more than that. What was noteworthy here, of course, is that for the first time since he has done Quarterback Tears, Lamar Jackson is in Quarterback Tier number 1. Joining us now, he covers the NFL for The Athletic. He's Mike Sando, and he's back with us here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn in Baltimore. Good morning. Thank you, as always, for taking the time for us.
You know, it's great to be here. I'm not wearing my bulletproof vest that I've had to wear in the past. That's the messenger of how in the heck is Lamar Jackson not in Tier 1. He didn't just sneak into Tier 1. I mean, he just almost unanimous. So I think it was time. I think it's, we're past the point of him holding the team back in the playoffs or having questions about his game. I mean, what more is there to do for him except, get a little deeper in the playoffs, which is hard to do in the AFC last time I checked.
Yeah, there's no doubt that that's true, and obviously it's the same problem that sort of faces some of the other quarterbacks that are in Tier 1 there, is their inability to win a Super Bowl. I'm in a weird spot, right, because it just feels so overdue, Mike, that it almost becomes weird in that way. Like, and even the point of, like, there's still somehow 4 people that think Lamar Jackson isn't a Tier 1 quarterback. And I get it. It's sort of like nitpicking about whether or not he should have been unanimous MVP 2 years ago when Aaron Schatz, didn't give him that vote. Like, it's a weird thing to care about, but, like, it is just odd to me that there somehow still exists in this world.
So here's what it is. So Josh Allen got 3 Tier 2 votes too. So what is that? What does Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have in common? Right? It's a little bit more reliance on their legs. And I think that there are some QB snobs, who really still put so much emphasis on the ability to pass when you have to throw the ball. They see Josh Allen has some one-off games. I think he had a 9 for 30 game last year
against the Ravens. Yes.
Yeah, didn't he have it against Houston too? I can't remember. He had a bad game, but I think that's what it is. I think there's at least one ballot where Burrow and Mahomes were the only Tier 1 guys on the ballot, and you get some other people that have 6 or 7 Tier 1s on the ballot. It all evens out. I think Mahomes needs to be unanimous, even though statistically it hasn't been the same, just pedigree. And I think they were 11-0 in one-score games. But to me, what was most impressive about Lamar Jackson last year, and what was totally different about anything he's done before, is that, they were winning games with the bad defense and bad special teams. Now, they got better late in the year. But to me, that's a huge test for quarterbacks. I think it's really hard to do. It's rare. Patrick Mahomes is one of the few quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl without having a top defense. So I think that's where Lamar Jackson gained in certainly in my view of what he's been able to do, because they've always been so good on defense and special teams. It's an easier game to win.
Point of order, you were right, by the way. It was Josh Allen's 9 for 30 was against the Texans, and the Ravens game was 16 of 29 for 180 yards. It was pedestrian, but not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's still Tier 1. To me, any Tier 1 should have those 4 guys. It was a little surprising to see Stafford join him, but he's not in the same class because all the different Stafford's resided at the top of Tier 2 for a while, and so I don't have the same voters every year. I think last year he had 21 Tier 1 votes. He went to 26, so 5 people put him over. So he's barely, his average vote's like a 1.5, one fewer Tier 1 vote. He's the top of Tier 2. So I'm not reading too much into him joining Lamar, Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow, because there's a gap. There's a big gap.
I asked this. It was interesting to see that Jaden Daniels was as high as he was on this list. And to me, if you asked me today, I'd say Jaden Daniels is the 5th best quarterback in football. But, the reverence to Matt Stafford is understandable. Do you feel like perhaps what Lamar and arguably Josh Allen, to a slightly lesser extent, have done has made it so that fewer football people try to use running or escapability as like a knock as bizarrely as they have against Lamar Jackson.
Well, if it's a crutch for not being able to throw the ball, it's a legitimate concern because your career will dry up, Cam Newton or whoever, right? You have to be able to pass the ball to have longevity in the NFL, and you have to be really good at it to be at the top levels. So Jaden Daniels seems to do that well. I think he's come in as not only a good runner, and he had over 800 yards rushing, but really good passer, really great poise. Think where that organization's been. They went to the championship game, So I think that Daniels, look, there's a chance that he'll be like C.J. Stroud, and he'll fall off, and defenses will catch up to him. That could totally happen. So I'm perfectly fine with him top of tier 2, but that to go that deep in the playoffs and to play so well late in games for that franchise, it's almost like he got some of the second year validation just in the playoffs.
I mean, look, I'm insanely bullish about Jaden Daniels. I think that kid is special, man. But I think part of that is having watched Lamar Jackson. I'm not trying to make him Lamar Jackson because he's not, but like he's really freaking good, man. He's unbelievable.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is, so he set a record for being the highest guy, to debut in this thing as a second-year player. He broke Stroud's record, and Stroud sort of came back to earth the second year, and Stroud broke Justin Herbert's record. And Herbert has stayed high in tier 2, but he's gotten fewer tier 1 votes every year since. So it's a tough league. These guys sometimes look like they've got all the answers, and then defensive coordinators do their thing, or you have changes to your staff or whatever. You get banged up, so there's no guarantees. I love where he's at. I love where he's headed, but he still has to do it.
Mike Sando from The Athletic is with us. We've linked up his quarterback tiers on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio for you to check out if you haven't already. Mike, I wonder, too, it was an interesting comment that was made about Lamar in the fact that, like, finally it seems like the Ravens have put together a more representative group of pass catchers and offensive weapons around him. And maybe it's interesting to me, too, because you see Pat Mahomes no longer the definitive solo number one. This good. I just wonder if maybe we don't realize it until we see what players are able to do around them when they're a bit more representative.
Yeah, and also they changed their offense, too, which I think was a component of Lamar emerging and showing he could do what he hadn't always been asked to do earlier, even if we saw glimpses of it. So, yes, I've always felt like for quarterbacks there's a baseline level of weaponry required to succeed. And we've seen over the years, even Tom Brady, when he would lose Gronkowski, or Edelman or both, it could look really tough for a while. And I think Mahomes has been dealing with that a little bit as Travis Kelce's gotten older, just dynamically. And Lamar's always had, through himself and now through Derrick Henry, and just the DNA of the head coach, the run game has always been prioritized, except for that one game in the playoffs that we're forgetting about a couple years ago where they kicked themselves.
Yes.
But that component of being able to run the ball and having it in your DNA to run the ball, in addition to doing all the things Lamar can do, very tough combination. I don't feel that with the Chiefs. I feel like Andy Reid over his career has just wanted to throw the ball and has to talk himself in to remind himself to run it, right? And I think that probably makes it somewhat tougher for Mahomes.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Mike, the other part of it, we brought up the playoff thing, and that to me is the biggest area of, if a Ravens fan still screams about, well, why isn't Lamar Jackson higher on this list? I'm like, right, well, he does have to prove it. And the argument back is always, well, Josh Allen's never made a Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow, while he reached one, has hardly done anything otherwise in the postseason. Like, does it feel like that burden has been carried more by Lamar Jackson than it has been by some of these other quarterbacks?
Yes. Yes, but I've done this research, and now this has changed the last couple of years. Lamar hasn't been what held them back at the playoffs the last couple of years. Before that, though, the gap between regular season and postseason, just sort of statistical production for these quarterbacks, Lamar's was huge, bigger than the other ones. Now, Josh Allen, obviously very early in his career, had the horrific game at Houston, but I think he's had better ones since then, and has actually done fairly well individually. I feel like Lamar didn't for a while, and now the last couple of years he's been fine. But I think I don't think it was exaggerated for him, because I think he was so much different production-wise in the playoffs for a while.
Do you feel like at this point, if one of these, like whoever, short of, I guess obviously it could be Jalen Hurts again, and I don't know how anybody would feel about it, but does it feel like the voters are kind of whichever one of these guys wins the Super Bowl next year, if it's one of these 4 AFC quarterbacks, they're going to be number one on this list? Like that's just the kind of thing that we're waiting for at this point?
I think for someone like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, who are so well regarded, they're almost unanimous tier ones. I think if they win the Super Bowl, it probably does change the equation. You start having different conversations. They're obviously not going to catch up to Mahomes, but if Mahomes were to just kind of have another mid-year statistically, and let's say they bow out in the playoffs, it's not their year, and Josh Allen or Lamar has an MVP type season, wins it all, I think you'll have a different tenor to the discussions next offseason, fair or not. I do, but for now, Mahomes went to the Super Bowl again. He keeps going or winning every year. They're in the AFC Championship game every year, so it's kind of as one of the voters said in the section on Mahomes, he sort of has the Brady seat right now, right?
No, and look, definitively, and I'd still argue that Patrick Mahomes is I'm just going to guess it's going to be the Chiefs until it's not the Chiefs, right? Like I think that's where we are, but we also recognize that he's not been quite that guy, like quite the alien, unheard of, no one's ever played at this level type of guy, and that's what you're dealing with. I brought up Jalen Hurts. I think he's the most fascinating conversation on this list because it's weird. I both think it's insane to crown him higher. I think this is very appropriate, right? Back into the top 10, that seems right to me. Like I in my gut, he deserves to be a little bit higher than C.J. Stroud. But then I immediately say to myself, but is that disrespectful given what it is that they did? Like, why do we all feel that way about Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I think we know that when you play the Eagles, you have to have a plan for Jalen Hurts in that run game, but you don't feel like, oh my gosh, we're playing Hurts this week. And I feel like when you play Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, you're like, damn, this guy's different. We got to play him. And you feel like those guys, well, Lamar and to some extent Josh have had systems, built around their ability to run with the ball. I feel like you could drop those guys a lot of places and you got a star quarterback. And I feel like with Jalen Hurts, I feel like you can't drop him everywhere as easily and have him. I think he might fall in this thing on a different team. Don't you think? If he was on a little bit lesser situation for him, I feel like he wouldn't be as high.
That's what my gut tells me as well. Who is the quarterback that you look at? Like I see Caleb Williams sitting down there at 23 at the bottom of tier 3, and I'm like, that's the guy that if you made me bet who's someone who makes a dramatic jump. You pointed out Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold made huge jumps. Is there someone in that group that you look at and say, I won't be stunned at all if this guy is talked about at the edge of the top 10 next year?
Yeah, is it going to be Bo Nix?
Yeah.
I think he showed a lot last year, and I really trust Sean Payton. Mm-hmm. So, like, to me, Caleb Williams, there were a lot of questions raised about him in this, and just the way that he played. He didn't overcome anything, even if it was a bad situation. He sort of went down with the ship, to me. Didn't look as good. So we'll see. Maybe Ben Johnson gets the best out of him, but it feels to me like there's more questions about him than there are about Nix right now, especially when we saw what Nix did with Peyton. So, like, Nix is an exact 3.0 right now, which is high respect for someone after 1 year in the league. I won't be surprised at all if he's in that C.J. Stroud conversation next year.
Mike Sando, it's tremendous stuff as always. And again, the fangs aren't quite as sharp here in Baltimore, but we're always defensive nonetheless. Yeah. Of course, at Sando NFL on Twitter, The Athletic is where you find quarterback tiers. What is next for you, sir?
I've got a bunch of these types of conversation the rest of the week, and then I'm working on another project that I won't divulge the topic, but I'm really interested in. Spent a lot of the off season on, so it'll be a league-wide type thing. Ravens will be one of the teams I'm sure featured in it, and I'm not sure when it's going to run, but before the season, most likely.
I will look forward to reading it then. Mike Sando, appreciate you as always, sir. Thank you for spending the time with us this morning.
Thank you. Love it. Appreciate it.
Mike Sando of The Athletic with us here on GCR. Matt Stafford being in Tier 1 makes no sense. Which isn't to say that he shouldn't have been there at some point. It's just right now.
What did they do last year?
They showed life again, right?
Yeah,
they
did.
did.
In the playoffs. They were in
the playoffs. They were in the I mean, but
they have
Now's the time that
I
Matt
guess
Stafford.
we'll really know because he's only got Puka now, and
look,
or Devontae Adams,
right.
whatever he is.
Yeah, Mike pointed out like we have different voters every year, so it just might be guys that have had reverence for Matt Stafford for some time. That one is bizarre to me, and like it's weird because if you said, hey, where in your heart of hearts, where do you think Jalen Hurts is? I'm probably like, yeah, back into the top 10. But when I see him tied with C.J. Stroud, I'm like, no, Jalen Hurts deserves more respect than that. Like, he does. But otherwise, I'm not going to scream about too much. Do I think that Josh Allen should be higher than Lamar Jackson? No, I don't. I don't think there's anything that Josh Allen has done that has suggested he should be higher than Lamar Jackson on a quarterback list anywhere. I don't think there's anything at all that exists that would suggest that. Is it worth screaming about specifically? No. It's just an opinion. That's all it is.
It's more fun.
I know. You want me to scream, but you're not going to get it out of me today. I'm sorry. I got no screaming for that. Come back in. A couple of Orioles notes, and then we're going to chat with Tommy Akingbesote of the Dallas Cowboys before the Ravens play them on Saturday night. The former Terp will join us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at BMWChampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Erndale Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
If you missed it yesterday, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson got together to discuss how the Orioles could still make something beneficial out of what has clearly been a lost season. We're expecting some significant names to be joining the fold in the next week or two. They broke it all down. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan shows are brought to you by the Costas Inn, and the all-new Costas Inn now open in Timonium at the Grandstand. If you haven't checked them out yet, it's everything you love about the OG Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard, with the only exception being they only do steamed crabs at the original Costas Inn. But everything else from that menu, including the delicious, they've got a top-notch cream of crab soup at that Costas Inn. It's all available at the new Costas Inn at the Grandstand, so check it out there. Quickly, a couple of Orioles notes. One, hell yeah, Daniel Johnson. Orioles heard you guys. You said this outfield not good enough. Not good enough. And they said, we can solve the problem. And they went out and got themselves Daniel Johnson, who I'll have you know once played in the All-Star Futures game. I'll have you know.
Did he?
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Found that out.
This is what you get when we do an hour-long show.
Yeah, right?
We
like,
dive deep.
Dive deep. And Daniel Johnson once played in the
He's
Futures
also had
game.
one at-bat last year as an Oriole.
Daniel Johnson did?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Dan Johnson?
Last year?
Daniel Johnson?
Yeah.
Had an at-bat as an Oriole?
This is Orioles legend Daniel Johnson.
I didn't realize that.
This is actually a massive reunion.
I had no idea that Daniel Johnson had an at-bat with the Orioles. That's unbelievable. Are you sure?
I'm almost
He
positive.
did. He
Yeah.
did. You're right. I don't remember that at all. 118 games for AAA Norfolk.
Orioles
He
are where
made
he's
one
most
appearance.
well-known,
Yeah, no, not that. Made one appearance for Baltimore, grounding out in his only at-bat. I had no recollection of that whatsoever.
This is great. The Daniel Johnson revenge tour.
Why?
Well, I mean, like he's gonna, I guess, or maybe
Yeah,
avenge.
are they playing?
Avenge tour?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are they playing one of his former teams?
Yeah,
I don't.
Actually, no, they
it
won't.
doesn't
Actually,
look
they did
like
play
it.
the Giants later this month. So.
Okay, so there's that. Daniel Johnson gets another shot. I had no memory of him being an Oriole whatsoever. So much for deep dives on the 1 hour show. Also, news this morning from the Baltimore Banner that I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. The Baltimore Banner reports this morning that the Orioles have yet to begin negotiations on the ground lease and the development around Camden Yards with the state. Remember how much of a hot-button issue this was for the last ownership group? It was perceived that the new ownership group would just slide in. They made it very clear that they were still interested in development around Camden Yards. And maybe part of the conversation that I wasn't aware of is that there is a kind of a deadline or at least a checkpoint involved. Reading from the Banner, with a preliminary deadline, looming in a few months, the Baltimore Orioles and the state government have not yet launched negotiations over redevelopment around Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Adding attractions around the downtown ballpark was a key desire of former team owner John Angelos, who was involved in protracted lease negotiations with the state in 2023 before his family sold the team to the current ownership group led by David Rubenstein. Angelos envisioned a live-work-play complex centered around the ballpark in the vein of the Battery Complex in the Atlanta suburbs next to the home of the Braves. The ballpark lease signed by the state and Angelos in December 2023, which is binding for the current owners, opened a 4-year window for the team and the state to settle on a ground lease that would give the team authority to build around the ballpark. There's also a checkpoint on December 31st, 2025, that require a meeting of key parties if no lease has been signed. Quote, at this point, we haven't had any conversations about a ground lease, unquote, said Katie Griggs, president of business operations for the Orioles. One of the things that we've talked about, and every time I've talked to any involved party about this topic, I've gotten kind of a similar response, which is there's a geography problem here. If there was an easy way to do this, it would have been done. There isn't. There is no simple solution. Remember, John Angelo's solution was, well, give us the parking lots. To which the stadium authority and the state were like, that math doesn't work. The other stadium uses those parking lots. They need somewhere to park. So then where? And that's kind of the issue. And remember, the lease was built so that it's 30 years, but it's really only 15 years if they don't come up with a ground use agreement. No one has ever been able to paint for me the practical way that this gets done. I know Stan has talked or opined about the idea that it could be the corridor leading from the harbor to the stadium. And yeah, there's a huge road in between those two things, so it'd have to involve like bridges that would take you to the stadium from there. It's not perfect. And again, there's a lot of stuff there. There's some giant apartment or condominium buildings. There's the old church near the convention center that's never gone away. There's no space there. The only space really is the parking lots, and you need parking lots. So where would you... No one's ever been able to give me an answer as to how this works. Again, that's why the comparison to the Battery has always been difficult. That was in the suburbs. That wasn't in an urban area. So it has kind of always felt like we're pushing it down the road. But when does it get dealt with? And how does it get dealt with? I think there's a reason why it's kind of gone quiet, is I think a lot of people that are really smart kind of gotten together and said there's no actual solution here. It's one of those things that you really want to have done. Can it be done in a lesser way? Maybe. I don't know.
If they just take up, you don't even.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're doing a live, work, play, people have to park to go to that too. Like if you're putting a bowling alley near the stadium, the idea that you're just going to get people to take, with all due respect, one of the worst public transit programs of any major city in the country, and that's going to solve the problem, or that everyone will just Uber, it ain't going to work that way.
Right.
There's a space problem that makes this kind of impractical. How do you solve it? I mean, we tried asking the governor that question and couldn't get an answer. It's one of those things where everybody's always seemed optimistic and sounded encouraging about the topic, but nobody appears to have an actual solution. Just kind of where we are.
Just that's even if they were to just take that area, I mean, there's a lot of businesses there, but like where that Jimmy John's, like that whole. Even if
you got to displace a lot of businesses, a lot of people. It's not like you're saying on the other side of the hotel. You're going across Pratt Street now.
Correct.
To like where the
no. I'm saying on this side of, or the stadium side of Pratt Street.
Okay.
But that whole lot, like where the light rail, where that light rail station is, the convention center light rail station.
But there's no. What space are you looking at there?
I mean, it's small, but like it's a start.
Just that like courtyard, or just that like.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, but you take away the Jimmy John's, like that whole building.
That's all part of the hotel.
That's all part of the hotel.
Yeah, that's all in the same building as the hotel.
We'll figure it out.
You can't get rid of the. You're not getting rid of the
arm
hotel.
wrestle there or something, right?
Like this is the issue.
Can't they do something?
Like you could try to displace like pickles and what do they call sliders now? I'm sorry, Section 771 is that what it's called? Oh God, I'm sorry. The yards, like you could try to displace that, but those are kind of institutions in Baltimore. That would be pretty unpopular for you to do that. I really am at a loss, and I have been at a loss the entire time for how to solve this problem. I talked to a friend of mine who's an urban planner who had that's why the urban planners all come back to the parking lots. Urban planners will tell you cities should not be giving up this much space to parking lots. But you put a football stadium in the city. Parking is part of football. Like tailgating is part of football. You're never going to win this. Or you're not easily going to win this conversation, that's for sure. Well, see, they're not even having conversations at the moment, which doesn't seem great. It seems like Like, if somebody had a solution, you would at least be talking about it at this point. Had to do this a little bit earlier because of their practice schedule, but Ravens Cowboys coming up Saturday night. Let's meet a former Terp who's looking to make the roster in Dallas. Well, it's a pleasure to be joined again here on GCR by a former Terp and someone that we're going to see this Saturday night as the Ravens will be taking on the Cowboys in preseason game number 2. He is Cowboys rookie defensive tackle Tommy Akingbesote, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Tommy, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you again, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you for having me again.
Always good to hear your voice, dude. Hey, I know, right? You spend like your entire life dreaming of this moment. What is it like? You know, you hear your name called in the draft. You go through off-season activities. You get to training camp. You put the jersey on, you play in games. Can you describe how, like, the actual real-life experience compares to this dream that you've had for your entire life?
Yeah, it's such a surreal moment for me, man. Like you said, I've dreamed this all my life. So just being here, being in the Dallas Cowboys uniform is just a blessing. And I'm happy to come out here and play this weekend against the Ravens, man. One of a hometown team, the Ravens, so I'm eager to get out there and perform my best.
I appreciate that. Tommy, can you describe, right? Like, I know you had been excited anywhere, and we were selfishly hoping that it would be in purple, like the whole thing. But this is the Dallas Cowboys we're talking about, right? Like, this is
an American team,
right? Like, what is it like being a part of that? Because I can only imagine, you know, there's an uber media presence. It's maybe even greater than any other team. There's all of that, the history. When you walk in that first day, do you feel any of that? Like, holy crap, I'm part of this.
Yeah, for sure. First day was kind of surreal for me because I'm walking in, I'm meeting Mr. Jones for the first time. I'm like, Lord, like this is really real. Come in the facility, walk past Dak, CD, Micah, all them boys. I'm just like, man, this is a real moment for me. So I took it in. I couldn't be that press guy, so I had to act normal around them guys, you know, say what's up to them and stuff like that, get to know them and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to be there. Like, I get the concept.
That part.
You're one of them now. That's the way that it goes. The difficult...
Yeah, I definitely used to be big fans of them guys. So yeah, like you said, I belong here. So
you gotta
I
be cool.
To act accordingly.
Gotta be cool. I completely respect that. You gotta be cool. The part where you spent all that time prepping for the draft, like you get through it, you hear your name called, you did that. Like, but you only get to celebrate that for so long because you know nothing's promised, particularly as a later round pick. What is that transition like from enjoying the fruits of your labor to, oh, right, but I have way more work to do?
Yeah, I definitely experienced that coming into my first week of training camp. I seen like, it's nothing's gonna be guaranteed. You have to earn everything, so I have to come with a positive mindset, even on my back. Come the next day and stack another good day. So I'm really just stacking good days for the most part, learning the scheme, everything, learning how my coach wants his front to be ran, and just stacking great days. So it's been a great transition. It's just more good days to be stacked.
He's Tommy Akingbesote, the Dallas Cowboys, of course, Ravens Cowboys, Saturday night in Arlington. Tommy, you were a bit more heralded as a prospect coming out of PG County than some guys were, but you kind of took the hard right? Like choosing to stay home and go to Maryland. Does that maybe better prepare you for the grind of going through camp?
Yeah, I feel like it does because I always been that underdog. I always been looked off. So I feel like just keeping that same grind as you're the underdog. So just do everything right, do the little things right, and the big picture is you're gonna be given that starting role one day. And when I do get that starting role, I'm gonna be prepared, and it's gonna be my career is gonna be trajected up from there. So
do you still have people that, like, you know, when you get down to Dallas and there's a bunch of guys that don't know you because they weren't, you know, watching Maryland football, and then they see your size but your athleticism, like, do you still get to have those moments where you know,
for sure.
Right. Has there been one that's been cool for you? Like, you know, I don't even know who it would be. Like Dak is like, holy crap, who is that?
Right, yeah. And them boys see me, they just be like, Lord, that boy big. So.
Right? It's the same thing we all were mesmerized by. We're like, how?
Yeah.
How is this dude
Right.
able to do that, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What is the biggest thing that you've noticed about the NFL level? And I get like you haven't been in a regular season game yet, and I know that's a whole different world. But like, what is the biggest thing you've noticed about, hey, here's what I still need to do better, more consistently in order to be able to perform at this level?
For sure. I feel like everybody was a guy in college, so everybody, like, the NFL is definitely a different level of competition. So you gotta come to work every single day. Bring your best every day. So I say it's that consistent NFL approach. Like, you're a pro now, so you gotta come to work ready to go every day. So it's that consistent pro-like approach to the game.
So I realize that everybody says preseason games don't matter. They matter an awful lot for you right now. Like, I understand that.
Yeah.
So when you go out there on Saturday night against the Ravens, please take it easy, right? Like, nobody get hurt. But you understand what I mean? Like, can you explain that to people how – they're dismissive of the preseason, but for you, like, this is kind of your Super Bowl on Saturday night.
That part, yeah. I'm very excited for the season game coming up. Like you said, the preseason does mean a lot to me. I'm fighting for my life, so I'm approaching this game like it's the Super Bowl, like you said, and I'm ready to come compete against the Ravens.
I understand, and again, as long as nobody gets hurt, we're cool with that. We want to see you ball
That
out.
part.
Like, we want to see
That
you
part.
ball out.
Yeah, the goal is to stay healthy. Sure.
That's the part that matters most to us. Tommy, since the last time we talked, right, we heard Coach Locks kind of opened up about what you guys went through last year. And maybe you might have even been caught off. I think a lot of us are caught off, but he's always very honest. He's a very honest person. Can you describe like what you saw and maybe how the difficulty is for teams now moving forward with like the way that NIL works and Locke saying, hey, maybe I need to put my desk in the locker room this year to make sure we're all on the same page?
To be honest, I wasn't really my mind wasn't really into all of that. I guess some of the guys there were going through that problem, but me, I wasn't going through that problem, so I had my mind focused on the season, focused on being a leader in that locker room, focused on getting my young guys ready to play the game. So, like, I didn't really go through that problem, so I can't really talk on that. So,
do you feel like he's probably kidding when he says he's going to put the desk in the locker room? Like, that can't. He's not actually going to do it.
I think he's for sure kidding. Yeah. Because Locke definitely walks through the locker room, but having a desk in there is insane.
How much do you trust, knowing him the way that you know him, right? And I think you know the reverence that I have for him as a human being. How much do you trust that he's going to get this figured out? That the frustrations that you guys went through a year ago, he's going to solve that. He's too much of a player's coach, a leader type.
That part, yeah. Yeah, I feel like 100% is going to get it fixed because, like you said, he's 100% a player's coach, so he done been through it already, so now he knows how to. He's gonna learn from how last year went and fix that problem for sure.
I appreciate that. All right, what's it like in the Dallas heat as a 300-pound man running around in the summer trying to make a football team?
Man, it's very hot down in Dallas, man. I think our first day at minicamp was like 99, but it felt like 103, man. It's like Dallas is very hot. So,
and it's not like it doesn't. It gets that hot, obviously, back here. Like, you've been through that before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm glad they got us down in California. We definitely hadn't had a day past 80, 85. So it's a blessing to be out here in Cali, Oxnard.
Beautiful Oxnard, California, where you guys have training camp.
Yeah.
Tommy, like we always say, dude, we're rooting like hell for you, man. We will always root for you. You're a great dude. We can't wait to see you out there on Saturday night. And
I appreciate you.
Hopefully making everybody know what your name is moving forward.
That part.
Tommy, remind everybody, Twitter, Instagram, where can Maryland fans be giving you a follow?
Follow Instagram at famous.tom with 3 M's, and on Twitter I'm also famous.tom also.
Dude, you're the best. Appreciate you. Good luck on Saturday night.
I appreciate you too, boss.
Thank you, man.
Have a great day.
That's Tommy Akingbesote. We'll see him as the Ravens take on the Cowboys Saturday night down in Dallas. Don't forget, high school sports season just days away from getting underway, and all scores, schedules, rankings, news, everything you could possibly need to know, you'll be able to find countysports.zone. That's countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Love County Sports Zone. And if you've got someone playing, like a niece or a nephew out in Western Maryland, you're like, how am I possibly going to keep up? They've got you covered. countysports.zone. Come back in. One more thing, just a couple other notes that we haven't had a chance to get to yet today. Tidbit to wrap it up. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafilos's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1970. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Erndale Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, winding down for a Tuesday edition of the program. Of course, yesterday there was a lot of hubbub about the fact that 4 Orioles were named to the Baseball America updated top 100 prospect list, and MLB.com, MLB Pipeline, where you find our friends Jonathan Mayo and Jim Callis. They also unveiled their updated top 100 prospect list, and on that list you will find Samuel Basallo.
Woo!
Just Samuel Basallo.
He's the only one in the top 100.
None of Esteban Mejia, Nate George, or Dylan Beavers cracked their top 100 prospects. Of course, they were all between 80 and 100 on the Baseball America list. None of them in the new list put out by MLB.com. Their list of the top 30 Orioles prospects was also updated. Samuel Basallo, who's their number 9 overall prospect in baseball, continues to be number 1 in the Orioles system. Number 2 on their Orioles prospect list is now Ike Irish, the Orioles' first-round pick.
So
out
are we
of
like all gonna be
Auburn.
like talking with Irish accents when he finally makes it?
We got plenty of time to think about that, Griffin. What
is our number
costumes
two- is our
costumes
number-
going to wear,
I know,
the
we're all
whole
gonna
thing. We
dress
can,
like the Notre
we
Dame
can have
mascot
that conversation then.
he's our number 2 prospect. I mean,
Do we still have? We have a shillelagh already here. We can just all bring our shillelaghs. Dylan Beavers 3, Enrique Bradfield 4, Vahiva Aloy, first-round pick out of Arkansas, number 5. Slater DeBrun, who the Orioles use one of those top 4 picks on, is at number 6. Caden Bodine actually is at number 10. Mejia at 7, George at 8. Boston Bateman, the only player acquired at the deadline that moves into the Orioles' top 10 prospects in the system. Boston Bateman, number 9, the left-handed pitcher that they got in the Padres deal. So that's the update from MLB.com, MLB Pipeline. Couple other notes today. Michael Phelps is at Ravens camp. Remember, the Ravens players did a silly video a couple weeks ago where they were showing that they now have these new pools at the facility, and they did this fun video encouraging Michael Phelps to come join them and teach them to swim. Michael Phelps is there. Apparently, he's going to be taping something for the Today Show, and Ray Lewis is there, too, for reasons, because why not? I mean, he was going to complain that Ray Lewis is there.
Ray Lewis
No, he's going to complain at all.
Like you were trying to say.
I just don't know what he has to do with swimming exactly. But he's there, and they're taping something, and God bless him. I guess this then leads to the question, was the original video all kind of a setup? Was it all, they knew they were doing this thing with Michael Phelps, and so they just laid it out there? Because I think that was people thought it was cute, and maybe you realize afterwards, like, oh, right, it was just all part of a program. That's what this was. Whatever. God bless him. If it helps him win football games, awesome. If it doesn't, I don't care. And then the kind of a bizarre story from the world of college football. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer. Some revelations came out yesterday, about John Mateer's Venmo history.
I mean, all he had to do was put not sports gambling.
I mean,
nobody would have.
If you're not familiar with this story, somebody dug through for what reasons, I don't know why. Either they were tipped off or just sometimes people find themselves down this rabbit hole. It is weird that you can just see everyone's Venmo history. It's something that I've thought about for some time. Like, I don't know that I can. Like, yesterday I did.
Well, you can make things private.
Can you?
Yeah.
Well, then we all should do a much better. Why isn't that the default option to make things private?
I guess maybe like they were thinking like it's like
let's
social
make
media
that the
almost,
default
where
option.
it's like, oh look, Glenn and Griffin are hanging out because Griffin paid Glenn for
why
pizza.
do I want you to know that I? Wait, go ahead, John. Well, you clearly want to say something. Because I've never spent that much time with it. I'm sure you can. But no. That doesn't address the problem. You're trying to solve.
Make every
Stop.
transaction
That's
private.
fine. Why isn't it the default? Why is the default
I
that
don't know.
you
when
show
I
it
first
publicly?
went on
You
the
can make it
Venmo,
default.
it came up as you clicked it, and it's now the
I
default
definitely
for
did
me.
not click anything.
Well, I did. Just
I was never
The
given
mic
that
is set
option.
up for Sam. I need
Sorry.
My
There you
8-year-old
go.
in here yesterday recording some promos.
How'd he
for
do?
us. Could use some work. Could use some work. In fairness, like
he's 8.
We had Griffin recording
then he
promos
started
today to coach him.
Oh
yeah.
Well, he started threatening to not let us use his voice.
Yeah, he was like, how much am I getting paid for this work? And I said, the problem with Venmo is that, like, it should be default that I should have to choose that I want people to see what it is that I'm doing. The moral of the story being John Mateer, the quarterback for Oklahoma, somebody digs through his Venmo history and they find in 2022 when he was at Washington State 2 pretty questionable transactions on Venmo. The description for these 2 transactions really gonna be hard to beat the charges. Because the 2 transactions...
I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, could it be, though? The 2 transactions read, 1, very specific. Sports gambling, UCLA versus USC. The other...
I mean, but we don't know what
sports
he's betting.
gambling.
We don't know what he's betting.
Well, you're not allowed to bet on anything related to college
maybe
football.
he's they're having a sports gambling party, and he
Right.
was paying for pretzels.
That's a great point. Maybe that's what it was. They were actually betting on golf.
Yeah, the UCLA.
It just
USC
happened to be
golf.
the same day as the UCLA versus USC football game. Not great. Like, there's kind of no way around this where you're like, all right, man, none of us think this is that big of a deal. If he wasn't betting on his team, who cares, right? But this is the same problem the NFL, the NBA, they're all dealing with, where it's like, no, we have a rule. You cannot bet on football. You can bet on whatever you want to bet on if you're an adult. Bet on darts, bet on The Bachelor, bet on whatever it is that you're legally allowed to bet on. Go right ahead, but don't bet on football. And this is pretty damning looking. It definitely is one of those things where, like, the actual activity, not great. The stupidity, far worse. And I know you're dealing with, like, a child, basically. You're dealing with, like, an 18-year-old at this point, but, like, come on, man. Just type services rendered. Just make some weird sexual innuendo like many of us
you just
do.
put emojis.
Yeah, whatever it is that you want to do, just don't write.
You just put a football and then money. The money emoji, the money bags emoji.
There's not enough by this alone. I don't think they can suspend him, but like.
Well, and he's denying it. I mean, that's.
But they're gonna investigate for sure. Like, that's definitely gonna happen, and we'll see what happens.
I liked my favorite thing that came out of this. So the Ohio State fans started taking who's the quarterback? Bryce Underwood is their quarterback?
No, it's at Michigan.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The Ohio State fans were taking his student email and they were using it to like sign up for FanDuel, and they were like, Michigan's not gonna have a quarterback this year either, guys.
Anyway, just don't type sports gambling in the subject line, man. What are you doing? All right, Tidbit is brought to you today by Live Casino and Hotel, where you can legally gamble. You don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to get caught in your Venmo transaction.
Well, as long as you're not a college athlete.
Well, yeah, you're still not supposed to.
You're
still not supposed to do that there. But if you were, all right, let's not go down that road. Let's just say the FanDuel Sportsbook is right there. It steps away from sports and social. Watch all the fights, all the big events on the 100-foot media wall inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland.
So Shohei Ohtani is making his. Well, I guess he played. Or did he play in Anaheim last year? I don't know. He's scheduled to pitch in Anaheim tomorrow.
No, not last year. He's now 2 years removed from Anaheim.
Yes, but he hadn't. So they didn't play
they
in
didn't
Anaheim.
return.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
I guess I don't. But for the first time, he's scheduled to pitch for the first time in Anaheim. Tomorrow, and as everyone can see, this is courtesy of Sportsnet LA. He had another home run. It was his 96th home run since joining the LA Dodgers. So he's got 96 home runs in his first 2 seasons with a new team.
Good at baseball, not great at real estate.
Ohtani, what
you haven't seen the story about that?
That's
that's out there today.
What happened with Ohtani's real estate?
Damn it, we're never gonna do a 1-hour show. It's never gonna happen.
Well, there's just too many things to talk about.
This is a Tuesday that we can't squeeze it into 1 hour. What's going on?
Play
here?
yesterday.
That's a great point, and they don't really even matter to begin with. Hang on a second. The Shohei Ohtani story was from John Boy, I believe. This morning was the one that had it. Oh yeah. Shohei Ohtani and his agent Nez Balello are being sued by a Hawaii real estate investor for allegedly sabotaging a $240 million real estate project, per the Japan News.
Wow. So his agent sabotaged.
Shohei Ohtani and his agent, Nez Balello, are being sued by Hawaii real estate investor for allegedly sabotaging a $240 million real estate deal.
Interesting.
From the Japan News.
So they pulled out or something, I guess?
This is actually from the Associated Press. A Hawaii real estate investor and broker are suing Shohei Ohtani, claiming the Los Angeles Dodgers star and his agent got them fired from a $240 million luxury housing development on the Big Island's coveted Hapuna Coast they brought him in to endorse. According to the lawsuit filed in Hawaii Circuit Court on Friday, Ohtani's agent, Nez Balello, increasingly demanded concessions from developer Kevin J. Hayes Sr. and real estate broker Tomoko Matsumoto before demanding that their business partner, Kingsbarn Realty Capital, drop them from the deal. Balello and Ohtani, who were brought into the venture solely for Ohtani's promotional and branding value, exploited their celebrity leverage to destabilize and ultimately dismantle plaintiffs' role in the project for no other reason than their own financial self-interest, unquote, the lawsuit claimed. Ramirez.
Could you imagine if he just focused on baseball?
It's unbelievable. This guy.
96 home runs in his first 2 seasons with the Dodgers, and counting because there's still a month and a half left of the year. He's already got the 4th most home runs now in his first 2 seasons with a new team. Can you name the 3 guys with more home
Not a
runs
chance in hell.
in their first 2 seasons with a new squad?
Manny Ramirez.
Not Manuel Ramirez. Was his full name Manuel, or was it?
I have no idea if it was or not.
Maybe it was Emmanuel Ramirez.
Couldn't possibly tell you. Trying to think. Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod is number 2 all-time, 109 home runs as he went from Seattle to Texas in 2001 and the 2002 season.
I feel like it was Mark McGwire.
McGwire was 6th. He had 94 in his first 2 seasons in St. Louis.
How about
the other 2 are Yankees.
They became Yankees.
Yeah, they became Yankees.
They became Yankees. Reggie Jackson.
Not Reggie Jackson.
How about they became Yankees? Became Jason Giambi.
Not Giambi. Go a little further back.
Go a little further back than Giambi. Little further back.
Don't focus on one. Go further back than Giambi.
Go further back than Giambi. Became Yankees. I guess Roger Maris.
Roger Maris, yes. 100 exactly for Roger Maris.
Babe Ruth.
And Babe Ruth is number 1, 113. So can Ohtani overtake Babe Ruth?
He could. He sure could.
It
is.
Yeah, he's got. He needs.
He needs 15.
Or he's
said
at
196.
Yeah, he's at 115. So he needs 17.
17. It seems unlikely, but it's Shohei Ohtani we're talking about. Not impossible. Tidbit was also brought today by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. Columbia, 443-266-3505. And Frederick, 240-931-3717. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. I've been going to Game Day Men's Health for the last few months. It's been very beneficial for me. That sluggishness, that run-down feeling that you just start dealing with when you're a man of a certain age. I thought I might be low T. They gave me a complimentary testosterone test. Turns out that wasn't the problem, but I was still dealing with what I was dealing with, and so they got me on peptide treatment, and that has gone a long way. And so if you're dealing with one of those issues, you're dealing with stubborn belly fat, you're dealing with, perhaps you're dealing with performance issues in the bedroom. They treat all of those things, and it's a safe space for men. You'll feel comfortable from the moment that you walk in. It's not like a sterile medical environment. It feels like you're in a real place where you can talk to somebody. Everything about Game Day Men's Health is a pleasant experience other than what you're dealing with, and that's what they're trying to fix. So GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
Orioles, Mariners in Baltimore tonight, 6:35 on Masson. George Kirby, Dean Kramer, the pitching matchup. The rest of the baseball and some WNBA soccer, you can find it all at glennclarkradio.com. Cincinnati Open coverage continues on the Tennis Channel. In action today, Carlos Alcaraz, as well as Alex Zverev taking on American Brandon Nakashima. Ben Shelton off his win in Toronto in action today as well. Coco Gauff in action on the ladies' side. All of that happening at the Cincinnati Open and NXT tonight on the CW. Any particular highlights, non-sports-wise?
There's the Real Hulk Hogan, TMZ presents on Fox.
No.
We have Alien Earth, the series premiere on FX. That's the new Alien TV show that they're doing. That's on FX. Truck Dynasty might be right up your alley.
I said highlights. We got to do a better. This is the new version of the show.
Truck Dynasty. Well, I went through and had all the bits. I didn't realize we were cutting together completely. So
we're not cutting it completely. We're focusing on one or two
Hard
things.
Knocks. Anyway, Truck Dynasty is like Tanked, but with trucks. Remember the fish tank show?
Only vaguely.
They made crazy aquariums for celebrities. They're doing crazy, souped up trucks for celebrities like Guy Fieri and Shaq. Rachel Hilson, Baltimore's own, and Timothy Oliphant on Kimmel.
They're promoting a Pimp My Ride.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's what I was thinking.
The Night Truck Dynasty premieres.
Yeah, they're promoting it.
That's
You can go back and watch Exhibit Pimp People's Rides. It was fun.
Zoe Kravitz and Ariana Madix.
All right, we've gone way too far. Way too far.
Ariana
We
Madix,
got to
of
learn what
course,
the new
the
tubular.
host of Love Island.
Got to learn what the new tubular.
Austin Butler,
is.
Judd Apatow, and Fallon.
Sure, great, wonderful. All right, we can do it for one. I said. We're not doing we're not doing 3.
Austin Butler's in that new movie.
Don't care.
Caught Stealing.
Is it about?
Got a baseball bat.
Is it about the 2025 Orioles? Because it seems like they can't steal a base to save their lives. All right, very good. We'll get it up at glennclarkradio.com is where you can find all of it. Thanks today to Tommy Akingbesote. Thanks to Mike Sando. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Gavels
tab at glennclarkradio.com. On the program tomorrow,
Evan Washburn.
Washburn will join us. Talk about the Ravens with him. Stuff and things. All right. Glad we cut it down to an hour. Much less pressure. That's what we got.
I mean, you're right. Yeah.
That's what we got. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, the BMW Championship, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses, helpmygamblingproblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, the Maryland 5-Star. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.